Olá. Okay, so if you're learning European Portuguese, you've probably had that moment, you know the one, where you say something that's grammatically perfect, but it just sounds a little off. Well, often the culprit is one of these tiny, tricky little words. Today, we're going to solve that puzzle. We're mastering adjective and preposition pairs, which is a huge step to sounding truly natural. Let's dive in.
So if you've ever tried to translate directly from English, this slide probably looks painfully familiar. We say worried about, but in Portuguese, nope, it's preocupado com. Different from becomes different day. This is honestly one of the biggest hurdles for learners, but once you get the logic behind it, it's actually pretty simple to get the hang of.
So that leads to the big question, right? How on earth do you know which preposition to use? Is there some secret rule book that we're all missing?
Well, the rule is actually a lot simpler than you might think. Here's the secret. In Portuguese, a ton of adjectives are basically locked to one specific preposition. They're a team. So instead of trying to guess, the trick is to learn them together as a single unit, one piece of vocabulary. So let's start with our first group. We're going to call them the A team. And you guessed it, these are all common adjectives that are always followed by the preposition a. Here are 4 key examples you'll hear all the time. We've got acessível a, meaning accessible to, fiel a, faithful to, semelhante a, similar to, and a really useful one, habituado a, for when you're used to something. Now, let's see how they actually work in a full sentence. Our first example, atualmente a internet é acessível a quase toda a gente. See how acessível just automatically pulls in the preposition a? They're a package deal. You really can't have one without the other here. Let's look at another one. O cão é sempre fiel ao dono. Now, you might see that ao and think, wait a second, that's a different preposition, but it's not. It's just our preposition a combined with the masculine word for the, which is o. The fundamental rule holds fiel always pairs with a. And we see the exact same pattern with semelhante a. In the sentence, o dia de hoje é semelhante ao de ontem. That ao is once again just our a plus o contraction. Once you've memorized the pair semelhante a, the rest of the grammar just falls into place. Okay, you've got the A team. Now let's meet our next group, the companions. These are all the key adjectives that are always followed by the preposition com. We actually started with this one, preocupado com, for worried about. And you'll notice this group is full of emotions. You can be contente com, happy with something, satisfeito com, satisfied with it, or even zangado com, angry with it. Let's see them in context. Here's a perfect, totally relatable example. As mães estão sempre preocupadas com os filhos. A literal translation would be worried with, which sounds so strange in English. And this is exactly why we have to ignore direct translation and just remember the fixed pair. It's always preocupado com. And here we have ficou contente com o presente, happy with the gift. Now, in this case, the English preposition with just so happens to match the Portuguese com. And it's so tempting to think you can rely on that, but it's just a coincidence. The real reason it's com is because the adjective contente always demands it. And one last example for this group. Estás satisfeito com as novas instalações? Are you satisfied with the new facilities? Again, this isn't a translation of with. It's the adjective satisfeito demanding its partner com. Once you start seeing this pattern, you really can't unsee it. All right, on to our third and final major category for today, the definites. These are the adjectives that are definitely followed by the preposition the. And this group is just packed with words you'll use every single day. Cansado de, for being tired of something. Orgulhoso de, proud of. Diferente de, different from. And capaz de, capable of. Mastering these will seriously expand what you can express. Oh, you can really feel the emotion in this one. Para, estou cansada de andar de lado para o outro. I'm tired of walking. The words cansado and de are inseparable. The whole idea is just cansado de. And just like we saw ao before, here we see do. Ficou orgulhoso do comportamento. That do is simply our preposition de combining with the article o. So even when you see do, your brain should recognize that the core pair is still orgulhoso de. Okay, so we've seen the patterns with a, com, and d. But, memorizing lists is one thing. The real key to fluency is understanding how this structure works in natural flowing speech. This is where it all comes together. Look at these two sentences. The first uses the verb preocuparse. The second uses the verb estar with our adjective pair preocupado con. They mean the exact same thing, but using the adjective form often sounds more descriptive and natural. Being able to switch between these structures is a hallmark of a really advanced speaker. So here's your key takeaway. Stop seeing these as separate words and start treating them as single blocks of meaning. Train your brain to automatically connect orgulloso with de, preocupado with con, and semejante with a. This single habit of not translating prepositions word for word will build a much stronger foundation for your fluency. And that's our look at the preposition puzzle. The only way to truly solve it is to put it into practice. So my challenge to you is this. Which of these pairs will you use in a sentence today? Pick one, say it out loud, and take one more step on your path to fluency. Until next time.